I am making a ghoti deck profile because I saw the new ghoti cards that are going to be in, I think it was Darkwing Blast. And because of that, I decided to put a deck together without using any of the mutant cards, or mutants for those who don't care about the spelling of it. So, I put this deck together. It's still in the testing phase, so this is more of a fun build of it. But I really like how it works so far. And starting off with the monsters, I play 3 copies of Paces, Light of the ghoti, and 3 copies of Schiff, Fairy of the ghoti. Schiff and Paces have the same effect, except for Paces has an on-field effect, and Schiff has a engrave effect. It has an engrave effect, I should say. Paces has the effect of you can banish it while you control it to summon a fish monster from your hand. And Schiff has the effect while it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to target a fish you control and give it 500 additional attack points till the end of the turn. But then after that, they both share the effect of during the standby phase, if it's banished, you can summon it to your field. And if it was summoned during your opponent's turn with that effect, then during the main phase, you can quick effect synchro summon a monster from your extra deck by using this monster you control as material. Then I play 3 copies of Enoch, Sentry of the ghoti. Enoch has the effect of when it's normal or special summoned, you can summon a banished fish monster from your... Why was I supposed to say that? You can target one of your banished level 4 or fish monsters and special summon it in defense. Negates effects, and I believe it's also removed from play when it leaves the field. No, it's not. However, you can remove or banish a fish monster from your hand or face-up field to then add a ghoti trap, which at the moment is only ghoti chain. If I remember correctly, there's going to be 1 to 3 more ghoti traps in the next set. Then I play 3 copies of Silent Sea Nettle. Sea Nettle can be summoned from your hand by controlling a water monster, but you can only summon it once per turn that way. But when summoned this way, you can only summon water for the entirety of the turn. It also has the grave effect of while it's in the graveyard, you can banish it and then target up to 3 water monsters in your grave, shuffle them back into your deck. Then I play 3 copies of Silent Angler. Silent Angler can be special summoned from your hand while you control a water monster. But if summoned this way, you cannot summon any other monsters from your hand for the rest of the turn. Then I play 3 copies of Ice Knight. Ice Knight's probably going to be taken out once the new ghoti cards get released. But for now, Ice Knight's decent because its effect gives you additional normal summon, as well as it gains 800 attack for every aqua monster you control. So if you control 3 Ice Knights, each Ice Knight will gain an additional 1200, which would put it at 2500. But that's never happened, nor is it the goal of this. Ice Knight just doesn't fit that well because it isn't aqua and not a fish. Then I play 3 copies of White Stingray. White Stingray is another monster you can summon from your hand just by discarding a water monster. And then if it is or summoned from the graveyard to your field, it can be treated as a tuner monster. And then you can only summon White Stingray from your hand by its effect once per turn. And you can only use each effect of White Stingray once per turn. And then I play 2 copies of Royal Swamp Eel. Royal Swamp Eel's the only effect is that if it's used for a synchro summon, all other materials must be water monsters. And then my favorite monster of the deck, I play 3 copies of Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth. Coelacanth has the effect of once per turn you can discard a card to summon as many level 4 or lower fish monsters from your deck as you want. And then if it is targeted by a spell, trap, or monster effect and no other monsters, you can discard a card. You can tribute a fish monster You can tribute one other fish monster. I apologize, I have never used this effect, so I haven't memorized it yet. But you can tribute one other fish monster, negate that effect, and then destroy the card that was targeting it. Then I play one copy of Gold Sarcophagus. This is so you can banish Shift or Paces from the deck, to then summon themselves during the standby phase. Then I play one copy of Monster Reborn as an extender just to revive things from grave. Then I play 3 copies of the Most Distant Deepest Depths. I haven't really used those cards, so I don't remember what its effect is. But while you control a fish synchro monster, it cannot be targeted. It cannot be destroyed or banished by card effects. It can still be targeted. And then you can only use each of its effects once per turn, where you can banish a fish monster from your hand or graveyard to add a ghoti monster from your deck to your hand. And if a fish monster is normal or special summoned to your field while this card's in your graveyard, you can target one fish monster you control, banish it, to then return Deepest Depths to your hand. So the card's not very important, but it is still nice to have. So that's why I don't play the Terraforming. Next, I play 3 copies of Moray of Avarice. Moray of Avarice, you can only activate once per turn, but you can banish a face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster you control to then draw 2 cards. Usually I like using this with either Shift, Paces, or the deck's boss monster of Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. Just because you can banish a thing, draw 2 cards, and then the monster you banish will summon itself back during the next standby phase. Because as far as I can tell, this deck's more of a control deck than an OTK deck. Then I play 3 copies of White Mirror. White Mirror lets you target a level 4 lower fish monster in your graveyard, summon it to your field, and then you can search your deck for a monster with the same name. So with this, you can summon White Stingray and then search your deck for another White Stingray. The summoned Stingray will be treated as a tuner, and you can discard a water monster, summon the second Stingray from your hand to then make level 8 synchro plays. Then to finish off the deck, I play 3 copies of Ghoti Chain. Ghoti Chain lets you banish a face-up fish monster you control to summon a Ghoti monster from your deck with a... Or you can summon a Ghoti monster that is banished in your hand, deck, or graveyard with a different original name from that monster that you banished. And then I believe it gets... it gets banished when it leaves the field, and you can activate 1 Ghoti Chain per turn. Once the new cards get released, I'll probably reduce Chain to 1 or 2, because I don't really think it's that good at 3. But other cards I would play in this deck, I would possibly consider playing... can't remember its name now. And I'll probably remember this later, and I'll just have it be in the description once I remember. This is like my 3rd or 4th time trying to make this deck profile because things have been going on. Anyway, that is it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. For the extra deck, I play 1 copy of Abyss Keeper. Sorry about the dogs. They like to bark at everything and anything that goes by. Abyss Keeper cannot be used as link material during the turn it's made, but you can banish... Or once link summoned, you can summon a fish monster from your hand to zone opponents to. And then once per turn, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and 1 other fish monster you control. Banish both targets. But the reason I like this is because of how you can just use that effect with either Shift or Paces. Like you can summon Paces, use this effect, banish Paces, the opponent's card. Next standby phase, Paces will come back. Yeah, so one of the cards I would consider playing would be Dimension Shifter, but I'll probably only do that once it's like new Ghoti cards get released. And the other card would be Terraforming, depending on how actually important the Most Distant Deepest Depths becomes. Then I play 2 copies of number 4 Stealth Kraken. Stealth Kraken makes every monster on the field change to water, as well as during the main phase, it can quick effect Destroy one water monster your opponent controls and deal damage equal to half the attack the monster had on the field. The fun thing about this effect is the fact that it does not actually target. So, if your opponent wants to protect a monster, they have to do it in response to the Stealth Kraken. And then the other effect it has is if this XZ summoned card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can then summon Stealth Kraken spawns from your extra deck up to the number of materials it had when it was destroyed, and then attach cards from your graveyard to them, or attach one card from your graveyard to each card. And Stealth Kraken spawn has the same effect as Stealth Kraken, except it does not burn, nor does it change everything to water. And its effect is if this card summoned off the effect of Stealth Kraken gets destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon Stealth Krakens from your graveyard up to the number of materials that had when it was destroyed, and then attach cards in your graveyard to each, or one card to each Stealth Kraken summoned by this effect. Then I play 2 copies of White Aura Dolphin. White Aura Dolphin's only in this deck for a monster that I like using, but don't really summon that often. But it has the effect of once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, have its attack till the end of the turn, and if it is destroyed by a battle or an opponent's card effect, then you can banish another fish monster from your grave, summon it from the graveyard, and if you do, it's treated as a tuner. And you can only use each effect of White Aura Dolphin once per turn, I believe. No, White Aura Dolphin is a soft once per turn. So if you have multiple White Aura Dolphins, you can use its effect multiple times. The White Aura Dolphin's only in this deck because of how this thing requires a tuner synchro monster. Then I play 2 copies of Escon, the Bicorned Ghoti. I really like this monster just because it's decent to make on your opponent's turn. Because it has the effect of if it's synchro summoned, you can target one fish monster you control and one card your opponent controls, banish both targets. And then if Escon is banished, then you can banish a fish monster from your graveyard to summon it. And you can only use each effect of Escon, the Bicorned Ghoti once per turn. So the main thing I like about this is that you can summon it during your opponent's turn, banish itself an opponent's card. So like one of my friends likes playing Dragon Link. As soon as he activates the Boot Sector launch, I will summon this, banish itself in the launch, use its effect, banish Paces, summon itself, and then during my next standby phase, Paces will be summoned to the field. Then I play 1 copy of White Aura Whale. White Aura Whale has the effect of when it's synchro summoned, it destroys all face-up attack position monsters your opponent controls. If it attacks a defense position monster, it inflicts piercing battle damage. And if it's destroyed by an opponent's card, whether it's battle or card effect, you can... I don't remember if it's banish or send. You can banish one other water monster from your graveyard to summon it, and if you do, it's treated as a tuner monster. I really do like the interactions of White Aura and Ghoti, but I feel like it's probably not going to be good enough once the new Ghoti cards get released. So probably all of these White Auras, except for Whale, will probably be taken out. And then I play 1 copy of Ravenous Croco Dragon I can never pronounce this thing. Arcathis. I never make this, but I do like level 9 being an option. The only thing I need to do is get a Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier and Trishula Sub-Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Which if I were to get those, I would take out the 2 Dolphins. And then I would replace one of my favorite monsters with a 2nd copy of... I already forgot the thing's name. Abyss Keeper, the Link monster. But anyway, Croco Dragon's effect is it gains 500 attack and defense for each card in your hand. And then you can use its effect. And then you can only use each of its effects once per turn. where if it is synchro summon, you can draw cards equal to the number of non-tuner monsters used for its synchro summon. And then quick effect, you can discard 2 cards to target 1 card on the field and destroy it. The important thing about this thing, though, is that it is a fish, which I don't remember why it's important, I just remember it is. And then I play 3 copies of Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. I only play 3 copies of Ghoti of the Deep Beyond because I do not have something like Baron de Fleur or Cheng Ying, the Supreme Sword Soul Sovereign Cheng Ying. Both of those will be good things to put in this, but since I don't have them, I'm playing 3 of Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. Anyway, Ghoti of the Deep Beyond's effect is if it is synchro summoned during your opponent's main phase, then you can activate its effect to banish all cards on the field. If it is in the monster zone is banished, then during the next standby phase, you can activate its effect to then summon itself back to the field, and its attack points are equal to the number of banished monsters times 500. The biggest I've been able to get this to be has actually been, I want to say it was 20,000, but because it was against it was an attack duel with a Grand Maju deck. Which, this with Grand Maju is actually kind of scary. And then to finish off the deck, I do play the 1 copy of White Aura Behemoth. The Behemoth has the effect of, during your turn, when this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon 1 Divine Dragon token. It is a level 10 water fish monster 30 with the same stats as Behemoth. You can summon it in defense position. And then during your opponent's turn, while you control no tokens, quick effect, you can activate its effect on a new token. And then if this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard, while you control a Divine Dragon token, you can special summon it from your grave in defense position. The only reason I like this card is because it's a 3300 attack monster. But like I said, this will be coming out, or this and the 2 Dolphins will be coming out of the deck. Like I said, I would probably prefer it be for like Cheng Ying, what I say its name was, Baron de Fleur, and then second Abyss Keeper. Those are the changes I would make to the deck, but overall I still think the deck is really fun, mainly because most people still don't know what Ghotis do, which I think is hilarious. And moving on to the side deck. For the side deck, I play 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier. This is just so I can lock my opponent out of being able to Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Pendulum summon monsters, or negate the effects of those monsters for the turn. Then for the back row / Mystic Mind Hate, I still don't understand how that card didn't get banned. I play 3 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. This targets 1 spell trap card on the field and destroys it. Then I play 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. It targets 1 spell trap on the field and banishes it. Again, just to get rid of Mystic Mind. Because one person I know loves playing Mind Burn, and I really don't like it. But at least being able to Cosmic Cyclone a Mystic Mind under a field barrier is still funny to do to him. Then I play 3 copies of DD Crow. This is just a get rid of opponent's grave monsters. Like, I believe it's good against Tearlament, which is arguably the best deck right now. And then I play 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird just because the decks that this is good against, it's really good against. But that's it for my Ghoti deck profile. If you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, any decks I like to see be made in the future, or decks I like to see face each other, feel free to comment down below. Thanks for watching.